3. Today is December 9th, a very important date for 11-year-old Clifford. Back in 2005. December 9th is a date that will probably always be just etched into my brain. It'll probably be the only date that I ever remember. Like when I'm old and senile, I will forget my birthday. I will forget my anniversary. I will forget all my loved ones' birthdays and all that. But when I'm old and senile and I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to have like a sort of Citizen Kane moment where I'll be like lifting my finger up and pointing and being like, December 9th. And people will be like, oh wow, it must be a very important date for him. Like, was that his first kiss? Or yeah, it's like, no, it's the day that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe came out in theaters. 20 years ago, on this date, was the theatrical release of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the first installment in the Chronicles of Narnia movie franchise from Walt Disney and Walden Media. And this was a very important movie for me as someone who grew up with the books, my family, my parents and my sisters reading them to me as a kid. I was obsessed. I grew up with the BBC TV adaptations. I grew up with the Focus on the Family radio theater adaptations, if y'all remember those.
I was the lion.
I was hyped for this movie. I actually remember the day where I found out that there was going to be a movie. It was probably a couple years before. Back in the day, we didn't have internet for the longest time in my family's household. But I remember learning somehow that there was an official Narnia website, Narnia.com. And I remember my dad was a pastor, and I remember we were on one of the church's computers, and like I knew that there was a Narnia.com website, so I was like, I want to visit that. Like, and I wonder if I can find it on like Internet Archives or something. But we go to Narnia.com, and there's like an official announcement on the home page saying, now, like, soon to be a major motion picture. And I was like, what? And 2 years is a long time for a little kid for me, so it seemed like I was waiting forever. But I was so stoked about it. Whenever I could, I was looking at behind the scenes, kind of like the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings diaries that he was posting online. They had that going on, and like I was just so stoked. And that's why December 9th is etched into my brain, was because it was on all the advertisements. It was on all the promotional videos that they did. December 9th, and that was 20 years ago. And honestly, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was actually the first movie I ever saw in theaters. And so that movie was very important to me growing up as someone who now is like an avid movie lover, and I love going to the theater. So that was a very historical film for me for more than one reason. So you can imagine my excitement leading up to that day when I finally saw it in theaters. I actually saw it probably 3 times in the theater, and those were like the best times for me, honestly. Are we going to talk about that movie? No. We're going to talk about something else.
We are all living out stories. It's what's so brilliant about this story.
In the days leading up to the movie, they were making Disney and such were making moves to promote the film as much as possible. Not sure if any of you guys know this, but the author of the Chronicles of Narnia, C.S. Lewis, was actually a Christian. What? That's crazy. So wait, Aslan was God this whole time? What is happening? So you can imagine, not even just with the success of the Chronicles of Narnia, but with, C.S. Lewis's popularity with all of his other books, amongst Christians and such. C.S. Lewis has a lot of fans, and a lot of those fans were Christian artists. And so I don't really know how this came together, but it seems that Disney just kind of tapped on the shoulders of CCM and was just like, hey, we know that you love Lewis and Narnia. You guys want to make an album? You guys want to get together and each of you can write a song and we'll release it for you. I'm sure everyone was just like, heck yes. Like, it probably was difficult trying to narrow it down to the 11 artists that they got a hold of.
It's so humbling and such a huge honor. Just being this young and knowing that it's meant a lot to a lot of people.
This is the most amazing thing. I've always been intrigued by C.S. Lewis and his writing. So when I got the call, I was like, yeah, this is amazing. I was honored for sure.
I'm just thrilled to be a really small drop of water in what I think is going to be a huge splash.
I was so excited and actually immediately inspired by the idea of writing for this.
But yeah, this was a thing, and these were some pretty big name artists that they got together, and I can imagine the excitement that those guys had just to be able to have this chance to do this. And so this was like awesome for me as someone who grew up a fan of Christian music, and as someone who is a fan of the Chronicles of Narnia. It's just like, oh my gosh, like all these artists coming together to make songs about the Chronicles of Narnia. That's awesome. And so yeah, I bought it, and I still have it. I still have it on CD. I've moved recently, and I tried finding it for this video, but I can't seem to find it. The good thing is that this album is all on Spotify. And so what are we going to do for this video? Well, I'm going to listen through this album, because honestly, it's been a long time since I've actually sat down and listened to this, and a lot of these songs I haven't listened to in years. So I'm going to go through them track by track, and you guys are going to get my reactions from them, and I just kind of want to talk about each song and the artists and such. So it's the 20th anniversary of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and so I thought that as the Christian music guy, this was a perfect excuse to talk about Chronicles of Narnia, is to be able to talk about Christian music at the same time. So I don't know. Hey, no more dilly-dallying. Let's just get right into it and start off with this first track, Waiting for the World to Fall by Jars of Clay. Now, I just want to say right off the bat, I remember listening to this song before I became a big fan of Jars of Clay. Like, I knew who they were, and this was one of the songs that I knew, and I liked this song, but I didn't get into Jars of Clay until I was much older, more mature, because Jars of Clay is for the mature Christians, not for 11-year-olds. 11-year-olds are more into tobyMac and Newsboys, and that's what I was into. But Jars of Clay, I remember this song like being really good. And now, elephant in the room, I know that, who knows where Dan Haseltine's faith is these days. I mean, I know that he's been making music for The Chosen and such, and so that's pretty cool. But, this was a few years before, Dan would have that whole thing on Twitter when he was talking about homosexuals and everything. And now he has kind of since doubled down on that kind of stuff lately. And it's sad to see, but hey, at least we can enjoy the stuff that Jars of Clay has done years before. That, I think, includes this track. So, like I said, no dilly-dallying. Let's get right into it. Waiting for the World to Fall.
Now outgrown me on the walls to where I've never been. And it's still
I think I know all the words to this.
I'm waiting when the colors come. My view is changing.
so good.
I'm waiting for the sea to change. I'm waiting.
That was great. Sorry, there wasn't really a whole lot of commentary right there. There's probably going to be more of that as we go on, but I was just having a good time listening to it. You know, I wouldn't have noticed it back then as a kid, but it's interesting to hear all the Jars of Clay isms that are in that. Like the tone of the guitar is very Jars of Clay-esque in terms of like their later sound and such. To me, like as a kid, it probably just sounded like a normal rock song, but yeah, pretty good. And I appreciate the sort of allusions to like there seems to be a theme of salvation, of like waiting for our world to fall and for, you know, to God to enter in to our world, and that's pretty cool. I'm sure the songwriters of all these songs had a great time being able to like, oh, I'm singing about the Chronicles of Narnia, but I'm also singing about God. So that's just kind of a neat situation there. So
the song really is a song about discovery. The name of the song is called "Waiting for the World to Fall," and it's a song that talks about wanting to kind of be removed from maybe our regular mundane or gray kind of life and move into just a whole other world of experience.
Next up, we've got "Remembering You" by Steven Curtis Chapman, and from what I remember, this I think was like the only song on the album that got like a music video, like an official music video. I think it might have been like an official music video because they had like, I remember them showing scenes from the movie and everything, so probably it seems like it was an official thing. Yeah, so let's listen to "Remembering You." I do remember the very fun like Irish sound influence. It's a lot of fun.
I found you in the most unlikely way, but really it was you who found me. And I watch as the cold winter melts in the spring, and I'll be remembering you. I'll be remembering you. From the first moment when I heard your name, something in my heart came alive.
I just want to stop right there real quick and just kind of appreciate the actual references to the book that he's giving. There's lines like, "I found myself in the gifts that you gave." It's probably a reference to like Father Christmas and him giving the gifts to the Pevensies. And of course, like, I'll watch as the cold winter melts in the spring. From the first moment when I heard your name, something in my heart came alive. Like, that's a specific scene in the book where the kids hear Aslan's name for the first time and they all just have this like almost overpowering reaction to it. And of course, it's like, love with the power to open the door to a world I was made for. Obviously a reference to the wardrobe. See, you know, you have to kind of have a very high IQ to understand these references, you know. So I know I'm very smart. So, but yeah, let's keep listening.
And I'll be remembering the dark night, the hard fight, the thunder, the wonder, the power that brings the dead back to life. You come back and I watch as the cold winter melts in the spring.
This has turned into I'm Clifford Today karaoke.
And I'll think of the way that you fill up my heart. I'll be remembering you. I'll be remembering you.
Kind of realize I should probably not be singing so much since I've got neighbors. Oh man, it's so good. It really brings me back. And of course, y'all know me. I love my Irish folk music. Obviously, some more references to the book that I love. I mean, that whole bridge. You know, it's obviously a reference to, you know, Aslan's death on the stone table. Spoilers, sorry. I mean, if you haven't read or watched The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, then you're obviously watching the wrong video right now. And then, a power that brings the dead back to life, Aslan coming back to life, but also at the same time referencing Christ's sacrifice and being resurrected from the dead. It's just so good. Thank the Lord for the Chronicles of Narnia. And you know what? I may have never been a super fan, but like, how can you not love Steven Curtis Chapman? Like, the guy is just so wholesome and likable. He's been doing it for a long time, and more kind of folksy Steven Curtis Chapman is one of my favorite Steven Curtis Chapmans.
So I wrote a song that basically is, I think it's from the perspective of a lot of the characters in the book. It could be Lucy, it could be any of the children at the end of this story saying, whenever I see the first signs of spring, I'm going to be remembering you, and I'm going to be remembering what is to come. What I really wanted to capture and what I felt the story left me with was every time I experience spring or new life, the beginning signs of redemption, restoration, I want to remember what all of that means, what all of that represents. Not only remembering my past and what has happened, but remembering into the future.
Next up, we've got Open Up Your Eyes. This one I never really had much of an attachment to. I've never really been a Jeremy Camp guy, but I do remember this song. And let's see how much it resonates with me now.
Open up your eyes and see these warning signs. Oh, and the time has come to realize, to face the fear of all unknown, to see the heart inside. So open up your eyes.
That part is kind of catchy. I do like that.
Open up your eyes.
All right, not bad. As you can clearly see, I was clearly vibing with the song. I guess I have more fondness for that song than I remember. That's some Jeremy Camp that I miss. I miss mid-2000s Jeremy Camp. Like I said, even though I've never been a fan, so it wouldn't really make much of a difference for me. But, that mid-2000s rock, there's something about it, that I definitely connect with more than what he's doing now. But, whatever. He seems like a cool guy. I guess it seems that the song is kind of coming from the theme, like in terms of the context of the book in the movie, probably most likely referencing the Pevensies and like them having to take up responsibility and take on this adventure, that they probably weren't expecting to. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of pretty vague for a Jeremy Camp song, which is surprising. Maybe that's why I vibe with it so much. But I guess you can take that theme and make it applicable to you, to whatever. I don't know, maybe about the Christian walk, Not a bad song, and, I like the "So open up your eyes," kind of catchy,
The theme, it's opening up your eyes to see basically the warning signals of like, hey, don't get involved in this. This could lead to danger. This could lead to something. And it's basically the whole theme is opening up your eyes.
Next one is another track that I didn't really vibe with as much. It's Hero by Bethany Dillon. And I never really listened to much Bethany Dillon, and I honestly haven't kept up to date with her. Like, is she doing anything anymore? I wonder. Oh, she probably got married and had kids. And you know what? That's honorable. Let's see if I can remember this track, Hero.
You broke the silence, a break in the cloud.
So far, this isn't a very like exclusively Narnia related song. Like everything so far has been like direct references to God and like tearing the veil and like very biblical, mentioning steeples and such, a man of great sorrow, not a lion of great sorrow. I'm not complaining, it's just an observation. This could have been a song that she just had in her back pocket and then just like submitted it for the album. I do remember that part. Yeah, it's a fine song. It makes sense that like me as an 11-year-old, I wouldn't go back to this song a whole lot, especially, you know, at that age. I didn't really listen to a lot of girls, you know. It wasn't really what I was interested in. And, you know, it's an okay song. I really like the lyrics. Aside from the fact that they really have almost nothing to do with the Chronicles of Narnia except for, you know, it's talking about God, you know, and that's who Aslan is supposed to represent. But good lyrics and good theology, and I like it, and there's some fun stuff going on in the song. But yeah, I didn't really return to this song all that much, but I will say I am impressed because I'm seeing in her bio that Bethany Dillon, you know, started her career in 2004 at age 15. When this album was out, she would have been 15 or 16, honestly, which is crazy. She's obviously like super talented. I may not have connected with the song that much, but it's like, man, at age 15 or 16, like you have a whole lot of talent at that age these days. You know, I mean, I don't see it as, you don't really see it as much. So good for you, Bethany. You've probably settled down and have kids and such. So good for you. All right. Next up, we got one that I remember a lot more strongly because this was another one of my favorites, and it is Stronger by Delirious. I didn't listen to a whole lot of Delirious back then myself, but I was very aware of them. I remember feeling like this song, like for a Delirious song, it was very oddly alternative than like the Delirious's typical more worship kind of sound, like U2 kind of inspired. But we'll see if my memory serves me well. So here's Stronger.
We're getting stronger every day. We're getting braver in every way. Hallelujah, here we come.
Yeah, definitely very like mid-2000s alternative kind of sound, like almost kind of Ben Foldsy, and I like it. Very nice choir moment. I love it.
Yes, I love you.
Solid, very solid. I love how that sounds. It's very great sounding song overall. Although as I kind of realized, I'm like, what is this song about? I mean, the chorus kind of seems pretty obvious, but they almost have nothing to do with the verses. Like the verses are like, oh, we're getting stronger every day, you know, blah, blah, blah. Look at all the things that we're doing, and then I love you from the depths of my heart. So like it seems like the verses are talking about like a group of people, like maybe Christians / the Pevensies, and then it just kind of switches the narrative. Kind of confusing, not very explicitly Narnia related. I'm not saying it has to be. Yeah, some of these songs you almost kind of think that like, man, it could have just been a song they had in their back pocket, and they're like, whatever, you can put this one on there. I guess you can kind of relate that to Narnia. I hope not. I'm trying not to be cynical, but hey, either way, I do like the song. Like I said, very mid-2000s kind of vibe. I like it. So yeah, not bad. You can't really get more explicitly Narnia than this song. Well, I guess you could, but this one is pretty explicitly like Lion by Rebecca St. James. And I remember this one being one of my favorites. And even though I didn't really listen to a lot of female artists when I was younger, I did respect Rebecca St. James, and I did like this song.
Mysterious, that's what I call you. This is not a dream that I'm living. This is just a world of your own. Feels like I'm living in the lion's mouth, but the lion is an angel. He's unbound.
Don't you just miss it when like even pop music just got a little heavy sometimes? Like have these moments with the overdriving guitars, you know, and miss it. Oh, I like that violin right there. So good, man. Gotta love, like Rebecca St. James, like she really knew how to do it back then. Like just make some good pop music and stuff that was just catchy, but also like very smart. Still holds up, I think.
The character that I really wanted to write about was Aslan, speaking from almost maybe Lucy's eyes.
All right, so we're going into one of the songs that I probably went back to the most. If it wasn't the most, I was a big tobyMac fan back in the day and just loved the heck out of the song. And this was around the time, this was peak tobyMac for me, like back in the first half of his career where there was a lot more rockiness to his music. And so, yeah, this is going to be very nostalgic for me. But this is New World. This definitely stands out from the rest of these songs.
No one believed her.
We got Whispering Toby.
Imagined it was true. She said she's seen the land beyond. She said she's walked her Babylon. She felt the cold beneath her feet and time stood still where the winter won't sleep. I've seen a new world. Never before, just step from the doorway into a new world.
Oh man, tobyMac was basically my
On the wings of healing sacrifice, he gave them something to believe. I've seen a new world.
oh, I think I remember this part.
This man is just the same as I remember him. The spell is weakening and what the break is weakening. When we rush again, I go and he's our king again.
Ah man, goes so hard. I mean, yeah, is it probably like cheesy or whatever? Like, yeah, sure, but you gotta realize that tobyMac was basically my Linkin Park. I mean, I never really listened to Linkin Park because they were secular. There was a lot of secular music that I just avoided when I was younger, so I missed that train. But tobyMac was kind of like my Limp Bizkit or Linkin Park or whatever, just that whole like hard rock kind of rap music, at least his early stuff. And like, yeah, that it definitely hits the nostalgia right there. And I don't know, I think it still goes hard in my opinion. Whatever, who cares about the haters? Anyways, so, and yeah, that one's very explicitly related to Narnia. In fact, I think it's probably the only song that actually even mentions Narnia Gotta love it. This one, I Will Believe, Nichole Nordman. I do kind of remember, but I definitely did not come back to this one either all that much. Let's see how it feels on a listen in 2025, 20 years later. Man, I've been doing this video for like how long, and it's kind of hitting me how long ago 20 years was. Oh man. Anyways, before I become depressed, let's listen to this.
We were meant to open doors. Take me by the hand and I will believe.
All right, just kind of standard fare mid-2000s pop, but you know, not bad so far.
Come out wherever you are.
I do remember that part.
I will believe. My baby, come out wherever you are.
Yeah, it's all right song, you know, just kind of, it's got that sort of poppy groove to it that I like from that mid 2000s kind of poppy sort of feel. Yeah, very kind of vague lyrics, and it's kind of interesting where it's like man, this was kind of back in the day where Christian artists didn't always feel compelled for everything to be spelled out for you, you know. It's like I will believe, but the rest of the lyrics are kind of vague in a way, but I think there was still some like slight references to Narnia, to the book, like one of us is big and brave and one of us is tender-hearted, one of us is tempting fate, and the last but not least of us has faith enough for each of us. It's basically, you know, describing four of the kids, you know. I mean, I guess you could say the song is about like God leading us the whole way, Aslan / God.
The story itself has so many different layers. I wanted to write a song that captured a little bit of all of that, and I hope that this song stirs up some of the magic and the wonder that maybe as adults we forget about from our childhood years.
Yeah, not a bad song, but yeah, I can see why I didn't really go back to it that much. Next up, we've got probably definitely the funkiest song on the album. It's funkier than what this band is usually puts out, but it's David Crowder Band with Turkish Delight. Can't get any more explicitly Narnian than that. I wasn't that familiar with David Crowder Band when I first heard this, and I kind of thought that this was just what they sounded like. It's not really, but it just kind of goes to show how like creative these guys were, and makes me really miss them. But so I'm really excited to, in retrospect, this could possibly be the best song on the album, but we'll see. Hindsight is 2020, so let's take a listen to Turkish Delight. Gotta love those strings.
Stumbled through the doorway into the strangest thing, an unexpected magic land, snow beneath my feet. What do you want? Turkish Delight. It's my favorite thing. Turkish Delight.
Those horns are so good.
But I think I'd do anything for that tiny bit of pie.
Turkish Delight isn't a pie, so I don't know what he's talking about. It's like a gooey sort of substance. It's actually good, by the way. Okay, so I'm gonna pause this right now, and I'm gonna go on a quick rant. Turkish Delight is good. I don't care about all these guys making these clickbaity, content farming posts on social media. That's what you are. Yeah, you're liars. Okay, you're not liars, but like Turkish Delight is good, and it's only good if you get the real good stuff. You know, the stuff that's like actually from Europe. I see all these posts all the time saying like, the biggest lie I ever believed was, Lionel and Wardrobe making me believe that that Turkish Delight was good. You know, it's like, it is, because you're getting the cheap stuff made in America. You got to get the gourmet stuff from Europe. It's like chocolate. Chocolate is only good if it's from Europe. That's not really true, but it kind of is. But yeah, you got to get the good stuff, and there's like different flavors that you can get too, and there's some that has like nuts in them, and I loved it, and I kind of want some now. Not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna try to order some and buy some, especially since we're getting into the Christmas season. But yeah, Turkish Delight is good. I don't care who knows it. I don't care what you guys say. I will die on this hill. I will defend. This is the home country that I will die for. Maybe I'm Edmund. Maybe I didn't think about that. Maybe it actually is bad, and I've just been enchanted. I don't care. It's good. I would sell my siblings for Turkish Delight. I don't care what you say. All right. Anyways, let's get on with this bop. Sorry, this has become karaoke at this point, but it's so good.
She got me underneath the spell and treated with one bite. Now all I want is my Turkish Delight. Why do you want Turkish Delight?
I just love the fact that David Crowder Band, out of all these artists, you know, they're one of the worship artists, and then they decide to do a song about Turkish Delight. They decided to do a song from the perspective of not the villain, but like a bad guy, at least for a while. It's just so interesting that that was the song that they decided to write. You know, all these other artists are picking songs about, you know, like they're basically worship songs about Jesus and everything. And David Crowder Band, you know, them being as awesome as they are, being like, let's sing a song about like sin and how much we love it. Which I don't know, I think kind of goes along with the theme. Like growing up and maturing is kind of realizing that you are Edmund. We are Edmund. Like, I am Edmund. I'm not Peter. I'm not Lucy, as much as I would love to be either one of those, but I know that I am Edmund, and I do want my Turkish Delight, metaphorically, but also literally. So I think that it was very smart to write a song about that, because you're writing a song about sin and how much it traps you. And it's just so fun, and they don't make them like this anymore. Like, you don't have top charting CCM artists making funky songs like this with like disco violins and just the awesome bass and everything. And like even David Crowder can't make music like this anymore. And I respect it a whole lot, man. Yeah, that's probably actually the best song on the album. It's probably maybe up there with Jars of Clay. It's probably aged the best. Yeah, I love it. It's so good. Let's get away from the fun and more into the serious. I remember actually liking this song. This is More Than It Seems by Kutless. I never really was a big Kutless guy. I liked this song for the most part. It kind of makes me think that like all those people that pretend that Creed and Nickelback are good, I feel like that this is my arms wide open. Like when I hear this is probably what those guys are thinking when they hear that song. But I could be wrong. Let's see how well it holds up.
Is my imagination running away, or is all this really happening to me? Am I a prince in a faraway land filled with fantasy? It's what I should be. More than it seems, these dreams inside reality's line. I am capable of more than it seems.
Do you think that those are actual echoes, or they actually had to get the lead singer to like actually repeat those lines? Hey, I mean, it's an okay song. Like, I felt nostalgic for a second, but kind of got a little boring. I feel like Jeremy Camp's song was a better version of that song. There are a few songs on this album that are a bit more vague. I feel like I respect the songs, like Remembering You is a great example of being able to reference the book in the movie while also referencing, you know, explicit Christian faith. And I feel like that a couple of these songs are a bit too vague when they're trying to, I guess they're trying to fit in with the theme of the book, but at the same time, like, they end up just not giving that much of a strong message, with which, you know, is okay. I don't have a problem with songs that are more vague, but it's kind of like when I try to listen to it, I'm like, what are you saying exactly? I don't really know what this song is about. Like, more than it seems, these dreams inside. What dreams? Like, what are you talking about? He's talking about the blurring between reality and I don't know. I'd be interested to know like what their inspiration was behind the song. It's a rocker, that's for sure. All right, so this last song is actually, you know, is very, I wouldn't say it's special, but it's the only song from this album that so I used to sing a lot. I used to like perform at church and such, and like you remember those the solo track days, you know, where like artists would come out with like instrumental, there would be CDs of instrumental versions of particular songs, and they'd have different keys to see if you could fit. There were a couple of songs from this album that they made solo tracks. I remember looking for them. I actually performed this song one year at Fine Arts, which keep an eye out. I'm going to be doing a video on what Fine Arts is. I'm not going to explain it right now, but I wanted to do a song from this album, and it seemed like this song was the only one that made sense, that worked with me, and it was a Chris Tomlin song, which we all know how much I'm a big fan of Chris Tomlin, but this is his song, You're the One. And it's funny because as big of an artist he is, this is actually the least streamed song on the album. So in my mind's eye, this is probably the most boring song on the album. But hey, let's see if memory serves me well. Let's listen to You're the One.
I heard your song coming over the hill. You're the one, and I have seen you laughing at the endless breath breathing into me, drawing us near. You're the one, I believe. Your life and death breathe into me. You're the one.
All right. So thoughts is actually, I'm listening to it and it's like, man, I kind of wish that Chris Tomlin would lean more into that kind of rocky sound, because this is probably the rockiest song I've ever heard from him. It could be a good sound for him. I don't know. I mean, he's got that sort of higher range voice that could probably fit like a, you know, emo punk band or something like that, but I don't know, missed opportunity. But I also wanted to say that, yeah, the song was, you know, it got kind of boring after a while, but the lyrics I kind of appreciated, because it feels like that he's referencing other books in the Chronicles of Narnia, which shows that he knows his stuff. If I'm right, there's like lyrics like, I heard your song coming over the hill. That seems like a lot of references to a lot of things in the lyrics that remind me of The Magician's Nephew, like hearing like Aslan's song as he's creating Narnia. I keep looking down as I move in closer. My heart is racing now in fear and wonder. Could be referencing Diggory when he first meets Aslan. High in the hidden world is where you are found, where every living thing circles around. Also makes me think of The Magician's Nephew, where all the, you know, he's kind of surrounded by all the animals that he just created. From where I am, I know this is not my home. There's a lot of themes of not being made of this world in The Horse and His Boy. That's about it. Everything else is a little bit more vague than that. But I don't know. It's just lyrics like that just kind of made me think that, like, you know, we could have a fanboy on our hands. And I respect that. So I do. I will say, though, I don't know if that's really a great way to end an album. Like, yeah, it is a compilation album, so what are you going to do? But it's like, I don't know. You could have probably put in more. Actually, I think what would be a better ending track is Stronger. There's something about Stronger that feels more like final and conclusive. And it is the longest song on the album as well. So, I don't know. I think that it's just a weird song to just end the album on. It's a bit more upbeat, but I will say Waiting for the World to Fall is a good opening track. Basically just wanted to go on a trip down memory lane with this, so I appreciate that. All in all, I'd say this album, like outside of it being an album about Narnia, I think it perfectly represents CCM back in the mid 2000s, at least like how everything sounded. You know, as a compilation album goes, it's all right. There's some better Christian compilation albums out there, but I don't know. It was an album that meant a lot to me back in the day, and so I just love getting this chance to talk about two things that I love: Narnia and Christian music. So yeah, if you guys had any favorites, leave a comment, let me know. And if there's any other albums that you'd like me to react to like this, yeah, drop a comment. Just do it. Nothing wrong with that. Anyways, that's all I got. Let me know what your favorite flavor of Turkish Delight is. In fact, let's start a debate in the comments over like whether Turkish Delight is good or not. Like, forget the whole like does pineapple belong on pizza debate. Let's start a Turkish Delight good or bad debate. You know, I want to see some carnage. All right, I want to see people dying on the battlefield like it's the Pelennor fields. You know, I want to see violence, and I want some Turkish Delight.